Greetings, greetings all. This is Milagros Suriano-Rivera, and this is our creative conversation brought to you by Intentional Creativity Foundation and Museum. And we are here in the Red Thread Cafe classroom, also broadcasting in MUSEA's Center for Intentional Creativity Facebook page. And we are so glad that you are with us. The creative conversations are part of our museum programming where we bring you emergent conversations, introduce you to some of our membership, and just talk about intentional creativity and ways we apply it, use it in our lives, and bringing voices also to women's issues and all things creativity and beauty. So I am the director of membership. I'm also a 2019 Guild graduate. I'm a graduate of Color Woman certification with MUSEA University. So I am a certified Color Woman teacher. I am also a Guild member as a graduate for the museum. I am a co-creator on the team for the museum. Also, Herf Tender here in the Red Thread Cafe with Rosie Mack, which I love doing, witnessing all the beautiful things that you all post. And this is an interactive conversation. So as we are conversing with our guests, I invite you to, as you feel called, comment in the post in the chat of the Facebook page, and we will be engaging with you there. And we will also be sharing some information. Before we begin, I want to invite you to land where you are and just share a little legend that says that we have been working towards each other all of our lives since before we were born. And the fact that we are here together in this space means that we were meant to be, and we have been calling each other. So I want to honor you for calling me and also show gratitude for you answering the call and inviting us to take a deep breath. And as we exhale, just landing in our body, being present to our body this moment, letting go of everything before and anything waiting for us after, and just embodying this feeling of this moment of arrival in this exact time to receive what it is that you're meant to receive, and to also give the gifts that you have to offer as you engage with us in conversation and post your comments and ask your questions and witness us. So with that, I like to talk a little bit about our guest. All right. So she is truly dear to me. And over the last year or so, we have actually been engaging more, connecting in different spaces. And I've gotten to know her so much better. And it's not just knowing her as a person, but I'm knowing her from her soul and her heart, the tears we've shed, the wisdom she shares, and just the person that she is. And I'm so grateful to have her as a sister, as an elder, and a member of our community. And I don't know, what I love most about her is that she feels from this deep place, and the love that she brings into everything that she does is felt by everyone who comes into contact with her. I can't say there's one conversation that we've never had that we didn't manage to cry because we feel so deeply. So I'm grateful for that because she's constantly reminding me of how real that connection is when we share from our heart. Is not just, oh, we're going to have a meeting, but for some reason we find something to bring presence to that, that impacts us in that moment, that we want to bring presence and show that it matters. And everything that she puts her intention and heart into is because it matters to her so much. And she has a way of making it matter to everyone that she shares her heart with. And she's a graduate of multiple multiple certifications with museum. I'm sorry, with the university. She's a Colored Women graduate. She's also a motherboard coach. She is a Red Thread guide. She also is one of the featured teachers in our Red Madonna community and sisterhood. Um, a herf tender here as well. So you know her, you know her, you know her. And I'm so glad that she said yes to being in this conversation with us. So without further ado, because I can go on and on and on expressing my love and just pure joy and respect for our beloved Dr. Sue Boardman. So we're going to bring Sue on. And there she is. Hello, Sue.
Hello, everybody.
And I meant every word of what I said. Um, yeah, I just, sometimes we go and we want to write things and we want to set up our little, cheat sheets and our little agendas, but I wanted to speak from the heart, and there's not enough I can say. So I just want to thank you, first of all, for being you and for loving the way you do and for choosing us.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. And I'm really, really glad that you all can't hear all the construction going on outside my house. If we shake, it's nothing personal, but I'm trying to pretend that progress is happening.
Progress is happening.
Which
Progress
is a
is
bit of a
happening.
challenge some days, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome again. And would you tell our viewers a little bit about you?
Um, the Reader's Digest version goes something like this. We moved around a lot while I was a kid, so I never really found roots in that phase. And my mom, who was always trying to help, wanted to introduce my sister and me to the neighbors everywhere we moved. And the story went like this, and we'll come back to this a little later. Sue is the smart kid, and Molly is the artistic kid. And so, as kids do, I kind of grew up believing that. I spent some time as a poor single mom. I left an abusive marriage when I was 4 months pregnant and 20 years old. And then I went to school a lot. RN, Master of Divinity, Doctor of Ministry, lots of church stuff, more back to school. And because I'm a perpetual learner. And eventually I wound up here.
Where is here? Like, where are you physically?
Oh, physically, I am in Atlanta, where it can't decide what the weather's doing and it can't decide what the road is doing, and all that. But that's kind of like living in the world these days. So yeah, here I am in Atlanta. I stopped swearing at the news long enough to hang out with you guys. And can I tell you how I found intentional creativity?
Please.
I was writing my first book, which, see, now that I said that, I get to show you the book. It's called Grandmothers Are in Charge of Hope. And these are my granddaughters, as one might have imagined.
Okay.
And pardon?
Nope, go ahead.
Are we frozen?
No, we're not.
Okay. So I needed a little help with the book writing thing because I'd never done that before. And I was working with an artist and an author that most of you know as Sark. And we were in a meeting, just she and I, one day in a Zoom meeting, and she said, would I play a game with her? It's like, okay. And she busted out her set of the Mother Mary Oracle cards. And so we did this in Zoom land. And the card that she chose for me was number 6, which is Our Lady of Dark Mysteries. And as she was reading the, all about it to me, the thing that leaped out to me was Our Lady of Fierce Compassion. And it's like, That's what I want to be.
And you are.
And so then Susan introduced me to Shiloh. Thank you. Susan introduced me to Shiloh, and this was right before the Black Madonna pilgrimage started in 2017. And I, the not artistic kid, signed up for the Black Madonna pilgrimage. And here I am. All these years later, I've found my place.
Mm. That's such a beautiful thing, to find your place, which a lot of us struggle. I think that's one of our, one of the things that intentional creativity brings to us and shows us how to do that. Because a lot of times we're going and we don't have a sense of place. We don't even, know who we are, where we're from. And intentional creativity just such a blessing for those of us who are in this culture and practice, that we can actually find a sense, find our place physically, emotionally, spiritually, just in our bodies, and in connection to creation.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you found your place with us. And I'm so glad that I'm a part of it.
Well, thank you. And part of that finding my place, for me was the notion of medicine basket.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had thought about this ahead of time, I would have it here where I can reach it. But it's on the wall up there, um, which is close enough. Um, and one of the things, I'm in the Origins program at the moment, which I wasn't planning on doing, just now, but I knew inside that I was ready for the next right things for my medicine basket. And that's what a huge part of this journey has been about for me, is finding things for my medicine basket and then figuring out how to share them.
Yes. And I know that you have plenty of tools in your medicine basket. I'm looking forward to you sharing this wonderful tool that you're dreaming into now. And for those who don't know, I actually am in San Antonio, Texas. And I definitely want to bring presence to our creative ancestors who I know are witnessing and holding us, and who have been the foundation for everything that we are sharing today, and who we are becoming and dreaming into. And they are Sue Hoya Sellers and Lenore Thomas Strauss, Karen McLeod.
Yes.
Yes, right? Shiloh Sophia and our beloved Carmen Baraka. And they are ever present in all we do and share. And one of the practices that we have in intentional creativity is to always honor our ancestors and the lands that we are on, the ancestors that came before us and the original stewards, and acknowledging our stewardship over the lands that we are living on and being supported by. So I want to definitely bring presence to that in gratitude. Also, as we are sharing and celebrating our ancestors as part of our Vivid 2023. Yes, our Vivid 2023 annual gathering and retreat, and the theme is Star Song. So we are going to be having our ceremony, our opening ceremony, which is our Cura Council ceremony, Star Song. The Star Song ceremony is going to be on November 1st, starting at 10 o'clock. And that is going to be open to all of our community. So that, we're going to have the opening circle. That's going to be on November 1st at 10 o'clock. And then the Vivid retreat itself, that is a 5-day ceremony process, which will include a painting process as well. So we're going to be in ceremony for 5 days from the 1st to the 5th. And we will be sharing a link on how you can register for that if you want to be part of the Star Song experience. But we are also inviting you on November 1st to join us, as it is open to all. And you can, we will also be sharing a link as to how you can register for our Cura Council, so that you can get access to that opening circle and become, part of that celebration and honoring of our ancestors. So we're so excited in our community about that. And we've been celebrating and doing Vivid for about 20 years now. And every year there's a new theme, and each theme just is so powerful. So we're looking forward to what Star Song is going to bring for us this year, but just a few days away. So we will be sharing information about that and look forward to you becoming a part of that. So I wanted to weave that in, Sue.
Yeah.
Um, so you shared with us what called you to oh, I can't find my words today. Intentional creativity. And you let us know the origins of your AKA compassionate grandmother, right? I love that because that I didn't know. And I know that you do what you do. You have a tag on all of your communications that says, "I have two granddaughters growing up in this world," right? What is it? What share about your granddaughters? I'm really curious because you always say your granddaughters, but I don't know them. I just know that they're loved by their
Oh,
nana.
twist my arm. Um, Kenzie is 16 and Taylor is 13. And they live what I consider to be way too far away. Um, and we paint together, which is huge fun for all of us. And their mama worries a little about paint on the floor, but I finally convinced her to take the white carpet off the floor in their house so that she wouldn't have to worry so much. And I actually did my soul work project for Color of Woman. I designed it for my family because those are the people I knew. And it's called Superpower Self Portraits. And we did that, the six of us, Bill and me and Dave and Kelly and both the girls, we did it over a Thanksgiving weekend that year that I was graduating. And made all of us made our superpower self portraits. And the thing that was so exciting for me, the girls had a blast, which was cool. And even Bill and Dave painted along, which was kind of amusing. But I knew them so much better after they painted their paintings that it was just this huge gift. And then Taylor, the little one, came up to me and she said, "Grammy, I know things about me I didn't know before."
From the mouth of babes.
And it's like, okay, we're on the path here. So that, and they're they're dealing with the big world right now.
Mhm.
And I have no idea what that's going to turn out to look like, but I know I'm going to be there.
Mm, I love that, and I love that you have that powerful connection with your granddaughters. My grandkids just came back after 4 years of living in Hawaii, and when they left, um, I didn't feel that closeness with them. Like there was just no connection really. I was just grandma, you know? But for some reason they've seemed to have shifted, matured, and they're just totally different beings since they've gotten back. And it's like I was taken aback the day that they moved in, we were at the house because we had the keys to the house, so we wanted to greet them. And I snuck into the kitchen and they're like looking into the new refrigerator. And when they turned around and, and I said, "Welcome home," they just ran and hugged me. And I'm like, wow, like that was literally the first real, authentic, self initiated hug I had ever received from my grandchildren. And I just stood in their kitchen and cried.
Yeah.
I just stood in the kitchen and cried because they did it. They weren't coaxed. Their parents were outside. They were like so happy to see me.
And I'm going to take a wild bet that the whole world has looked different for you ever since.
Yes, it has. It has. It has.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah.
emotional. Um,
Well, yeah, because that whole world is where all of our littles are growing up.
Yeah. What was that quote from Carl Jung that you shared with me?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is Carl Jung. Um, that the first thing that every human learns is that the key to survival is keeping the tall people happy.
Yes.
And, when you think about it, this phase, that's all they've got is keeping us happy. And that's great, when you're here. But a time comes when it's useful to learn some more things. And that's to recognize that was a perception that was useful to us at a point, and it's useful to those around us, but that there might be other perceptions that would be useful to us as well, I think is really powerful.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that brings me to my next question for you is, because you said you're a perpetual learner, and I know that you've gone through, as I stated, multiple certifications, and who knows what the future holds for you. But knowing that, like, how does that impact how you learn, and like, how does that inform you? How has your journey between certifications and different classes that are not even certification based, that we've shared in intentional creativity? How do you keep that fresh? Because I think being in the community, and I know some of us watching now or even later in the recording, we may have taken more than one class, we may have taken more than one certification, and how do we keep it from feeling like it's all the same in a way? Like, I know that the themes are different, the muses are different. Shiloh always has a different teaching, so it's always different. It's just because of the core process. Sometimes, how do you keep that? How does each class? How has each class been different for you?
Um, the bottom line answer for me, and it goes along with the hand signal, which looks like this. I'm trying to get it straight on the TV, and it's not working very well. Is context. Okay, and the two little brackets, one in the top left and one in the bottom right, is actually a psychological symbol for context. And so when I think about where I was in 2017, writing that first book, and believing that I was the smart kid but not the artistic one, and whatever was going on in the world back then, and whatever was going on with my knees, and my ability to get places, and all that kind of stuff. It's different now, and I am different because of the things that I've let in. And one of them was that very first Mother Mary card, the notion of fierce compassion. Because I didn't know you could put those two words in the same thought before.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that experience was a language filter for me that changed what gets in from the world. And can I give you an example from today?
Yes, please. That's what we're here for.
Well, so I was watching the news, and there's a hurricane in Mexico earlier today, a big one. And my understanding is that nobody was prepared for this. The forecast didn't predict it would get that big that fast. They didn't have aid on site. It's a mess. And I'm watching the TV, and the tears rolling down my cheeks. And what I realized was that Otis is the hurricane's name, by the way. One, I grew up in hurricane country in Florida, so I have internal whole person memories of some of what that can be like, and that's a filter for me. But also, I have well, first we have our dear sister Emily Greaves, who lives in Mexico.
I love
whom I've
Emily.
never hugged in person.
I did.
But she's part of the fam. And so when I heard Mexico, the first thing I thought of was Emily. And I'm not good at geography. I have no idea where Emily lives compared to the hurricane. I don't know anything about that. But the next name that popped into my head was Veronica. And Veronica is a part of Sue's little Making the World Work team. She lives here and she comes and helps us with things that my knees don't let me do. And she has family in Mexico. And so all of a sudden, I mean, I'm not even entirely sure where Mexico is. I mean, because I don't store images like that in my head. But all of a sudden, from the news to people that I know in that place, and it felt like my news and not just someplace else's news.
Witnessing you, my love. Thank you so much for bringing presence to that, because I didn't even know there's so much going on. It's hard to keep track with everything.
Yes, it
So
is.
it's I honor you for holding them, in
And
vision of safety.
when we make space for the names of people we do know, we're also making space for all the people we don't know and for their stories. Because if there are two kinds of, a person and a whole family of people in Mexico that I know, there's a whole bunch more people down there.
Yes.
And so my perception of this real fast story on the news this morning lets it in a way that it wouldn't if I didn't have the filters of Emily and Veronica's family. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense. Complete sense. How about you join me in just taking 1 second to just lift up everyone in harm's way in whatever way that looks like around the world, wherever it is, whether it's natural, whether it's just whatever it is, just anyone in harm's way, let us send them light. Let them find serenity. Let them find peace in whatever that shape looks like. Let us just send out our love light and our life light to everyone, and may whoever needs it claim it for themselves. Holding all of those we know, those we don't know, those we have yet to meet, and especially the littles.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, yes, that's, yeah, context. Context is definitely everything. I remember we were preparing, and we were talking about some of your experiences, poverty and all of that, welfare, and you demonstrated to me how I can take that into context and how I use that experience for myself as being a person that grew up. My mom was on welfare. My sister was on welfare. So it was expected of me. And that was the filter that I was living through at that time growing up. But then circumstances put me in a situation where I realized that that's not how I wanted to see the world anymore. And I had children. When my son was born, I was 17, pregnant, and homeless in a sense, because I just finished finding out that my rent hadn't been paid in 2 months and I had to move out, so now my filter came, like I have to break this chain, because the life that I have inside of me, because I was pregnant of my daughter and my son was 7 months old and I was 17, not knowing anything about the world, yet I had to start seeing it differently, because I now realized that the way I saw the world was that my earth and my moon and my sun rose and went down around this one individual. And then I realized that I had to live for these little beings, the one inside and outside of me. And I realized that I had to change how I saw the world, because if I kept seeing it through the filter I was seeing it, I was never going to change. As a matter of fact, when I went to the public assistance office to try to get a stipend for going to school and everything like that, they actually didn't want me to go to school. They wanted me to stay home for 5 years and they would pay me and support me instead of going out and bettering myself. And I'm like, this isn't what I want, the example I want to set for my children. I want to give them a better chance than I had in that way. So I says, no, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I did whatever it was that I needed to do. And I literally just went for it. And I stayed on public assistance for exactly 18 months. And after I graduated and got my GED from school, I got my first job. And I had been working for the last 17, 18 years. Actually more. I've worked 17 years at the last one, but I've been working since I was 18. But before that, I had no reference to anything because I was just going with what was normal. And that was the filter that I was seeing the world through, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for you, you know, teaching me about looking at it that way and what filters are for you and how we bring that context in. So really, really powerful.
Thank you. Thank you for hearing and being open to hearing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I have an old friend named Frederick Buechner. Um, Fred walked on 2 or 3 years ago, I think, at this point. Um, and he was a Presbyterian minister, theologian, and writer who wrote really, really cool things on a mountain in Vermont. And one of my favorite things Fred ever said was that the place where we are called is the place where our deep joy and the world's deep hunger meet.
Mm. Can you repeat that, please?
The place where we are called is where our deep joy and the world's deep hunger meet.
Mm.
If you go look it up, you'll see that quote in different versions because Fred used to say it standing up in front of a bunch of people, and it was different in every context.
I love that context.
In context, yeah. But you know, when you think about that now, and in the context of intentional creativity, and in the context of like, what would it do for us if we knew more about this thing Sue calls filters? Um, the simple answer to that is it quite likely would help us to intentionally let go of some of those filters that we're holding unconsciously and pick some that would get us closer to that place where we are called.
Mm.
And sisters, that is what gets my butt out of the bed in the morning.
Yes. 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 So we've been hearing Sue share and the term filters. And the reason we had this conversation and I invited Sue was because I wanted her to share about what she's dreaming into regarding an offering that she is working on in collaboration with the Intentional Creativity Foundation as a guild member so that we can bring some as a program for our membership and community. So what is it that filters is for you, like the class itself?
Well, so filters itself, if we boil it down, is a model of human perception. And it's basically the up to this point unconscious patterns that decide what gets in from the world and what gets blocked out. And believe it or not, we can change that. I was in France this past summer, mind-boggling, and came home, and what I painted when I got home from my Legend Archeo Futura painting, which isn't here at the moment, blew my mind because I couldn't have painted that painting until I went to France and got some new filters for stories and images and for connections. So what we're talking about doing, and it's intentional creativity. These things are still working. But what we're talking about doing is a 3-part learning experience. And filters kind of divides up into 3-part chunks. And so we gather the first time and share some stuff. And this is a filter, by the way, sisters. And do that. And then get introduced to the first part of the model. And then the second time we get back together again and we'd learn the part that comes next, which is just between us, my very favorite part, is part 2. And then the third part is, now that we learned 1 and 2, how can we change the blooming world? And whether it's the world that we live in or whether it's that one out there, um, by the time we get a hold of 1 and 2, we can change 3. And in particular, we can get a whole lot closer to that place that we feel like we're called to.
Wow, that sounds so exciting, so inviting. And I know that we're in the process of finalizing the dates and all of that. So want to invite everyone to just keep a lookout because you will be hearing
Please.
about it soon. It's in the works. And we are just looking forward to having Sue teach us this new way and this new tool for how we can actually navigate our perceptions and shift them and change them and see the world through a different filter. So I definitely
Well,
love it.
yeah, and just for a real concrete in this moment example, the filter that I had about I was the smart kid and my sister was the artistic kid, and those were clearly 2 totally different things, changed when I met Shiloh. And it's like, holy crap. It's not that mom was wrong. She meant well. It's that it's remotely possible that you could be both of those things at the same time.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I could hold on to being smart, which kind of works for me. And there's a stack of diplomas in the basement that go with that. And find the part of me that's also artistic. And I mean, when that happens, the world gets so much bigger and we have so many more choices and we have so many more things to put in our medicine baskets. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. And it's funny, I was thinking about you. Was it yesterday? I was on a call. Matter of fact, I believe it was an Origins call. And Shiloh actually brought up something about algorithms, how the algorithms change and marketing and all of that. And I was like looking for you, and because I was like, Sue, there it is, algorithms.
Okay,
Because we talked about that.
Thank you for reminding me, because this is a new thought in my world. You know the algorithms on Facebook that decide what you see and what you don't see, what gets in, if you will, and what stays out? Filters are like algorithms, the mental kind. And the cool deal, I don't know about you, it's hard to influence the ones in Facebook, but we get to choose our algorithms, our filters, and put them to work for us instead of just wandering around in a world where they act like walls and we don't know what's past them. Which I just think that's really exciting.
It is. It really, really is. Wow. And
Yeah.
it's funny. It reminds me when I'm thinking about it. It reminds me of how one time somebody told me that I cast a good shadow, and I didn't understand it because I always thought shadow to be something negative. But I guess it was a filter. Like they were watching me engage with people and saw how I was, and I guess it's also that reverse thing. Like it's also a filter. Whoever I stepped in their field, I was actually changing how they saw the world in that moment. I was making that impact. I changed how they were seeing and being and feeling. And I didn't realize that I had that power. So
and once it gets conscious, then you can put it to work to change things.
See, that's why I woke up this morning. Like, no matter what went wrong, this is it, and it's constant.
And I totally hear that, because it's why I wake up every morning. My kids were in Scotland when they found out that the first granddaughter was on the way. And this was not a planned blessing. So I got a phone call from my kid one Sunday afternoon. They're from Scotland. And we did the, hey, how you doing, da-da-da kind of thing. And then he said, Mama, you're going to be a grandmother. And the living room full of friends I had left to go talk on the phone would tell you if they were here that all I said was wow for 10 minutes.
Wow.
Which is undoubtedly true. And literally when we hung up the phone, my whole world was different. because all of a sudden, things were harder to get in Scotland at that point. And Kelly had sent me this big long list of things I was supposed to bring when I came, and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, they didn't have glass baby bottles in Scotland. They only had the plastic kind, and we didn't want plastic ones because they got crud in them, some of them. But all of a sudden, all that environmental stuff and all the women's issue, everything was just like this for me, because I didn't even know the first one was going to be a girl, but we were having baby, and it was time to get serious about the world. And in case you're curious, it's still time. Millie, I don't hear you.
I took my mic off for a second because I didn't want you to hear the table moving. No, you're serious. It is time to get serious about the world. There's so many ways that it's going wrong, that it's up to each one of us to try to find the right in it.
Yeah.
Or create that space so that it can.
And that place where the world's deep need is.
Right.
But at least for me, I had to get unstuck from some of my own junk to set out for that place where the world's deep need is. And I like unstuck a whole lot better than stuck.
And I know that we're going to be able to unstick a lot of things with your offering of filters. It's so easy to talk to you, Sue, and we can go on for just another hour, but we won't. But we're inviting everyone to continue engaging with this conversation with Sue and myself in the Red Thread Cafe, and also in MUSEA's Center for Intentional Creativity Facebook page. We'll take time to read your posts and share. Speaking of sharing and speaking of offerings, Sue is, some of you may have read her blog, and she is going to share that link as well. So if you haven't experienced her blog, she writes every day. So let's see what comes up tonight, because I'm sure that this conversation is going to be a filter for her next writing.
Well,
so I'm looking forward
actually,
to
the
that.
blogs come out on Wednesday and Sunday.
Wednesday and Sunday?
And I would imagine that this conversation will wind up tonight, because it's me getting from where I am to that place where the world's deepest need is.
Yes. And thank you for standing in it and for holding that thread. The other offering that Sue is going to be so generous and help in giving us is that she has actually managed to get leggings on her site, where she's offering us a discount code for anyone that wants to purchase. And we're going to be sharing, we're having a little bit of challenge now. I haven't been sharing any links, but I'm going to go in and share all the links that we are discussing today. But if you like to check out Sue's leggings, the website is fierceartwithheart.com. Okay.
Yeah. And these are leggings that are made out of underlayers of my paintings.
Yes. So
which is because then the part that you love so much doesn't just disappear.
No. Yes, those underlayers.
They wash and travel great.
They do. And the code to use is buy2-save $8. I'm going to be sharing that. So that's the code. So if you buy 2 pair, you'll save $8, and it's all uppercase. Buy the number 2-save $8 at fierceartwithheart.com.
And it will definitely be in the bottom of tonight's blog post, which I will also post, when it materializes.
Yeah. We're gonna share all of that goodie. Thank you so much for your generosity, Sue, and I can't wait to order my pair.
Well, I want to say just one tiny more thing about the
Yes, I was
leggings.
just gonna invite you. Go ahead.
I have this took a while to figure out, but there are 5 different size ranges. So you can actually get leggings from size 2 toddler all the way up to, I think it's women's 6X.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like that's even cooler. Um, so in any event, just in case you're Christmas shopping or something.
Oh, well, yep. Holiday shopping is coming around the corner, and thank you. They'll be perfect gifts. Um, if you had one phrase for or one seed of wisdom for our viewers, what would it be?
I'm going to give the last word to Fred, who also said that sudden flash of tears that we get is the surest sign of truth we have.
Oh, I see you, sister. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Fred. Oh, Sue, it's been a delight. And if you'll just stay with me while I share a couple more announcements with our viewers about some events happening. And you already know about Vivid, which, as I stated when I first started, is on November 1st to the 5th. That is Vivid 2023 Star Song. And we are starting our opening circle on November 1st, which is part of our Cura Council ceremony for this for this
Season.
Cura Council, yeah. And everyone is welcome. So we're going to be sharing links on how you can join the opening circle, as well as register for the whole 5-day Vivid experience, the Star Song experience. The other things happening are we have our Pop Open Studio is happening on Friday, this Friday, and it is from 12 to 3 Pacific time. And also our Echoes Pop Open Studio is on Monday, the 30th, and that is for our Sacred Echoes of the Well membership. So if you're interested in becoming a member of that, if you identify as Black, Indigenous, or women of color, that is a circle that is a membership benefit to our Black, Indigenous, women of color members. You can just send me an email, and I will be sharing that information as well. But it's milagros@musea.org, and I will help you take the next step in becoming part of our circle there. And we mentioned Legend 23, our next studio show, our next museum show, our next exhibit is Legend 23 Archaeofutura, and that call is open now through I want to say the 19th of November.
Millie, can you post that link too?
Yeah, we're gonna post everything.
Great. Thank you.
I didn't have a weaver today, so we weren't posting live, but definitely we will get you the information. So I want everyone. So if you're a student, it's basically the art exhibit is the call is just for students of Legend 23 Archaeofutura. So if you're a Legend 23 student, please submit your work. And the show is going to be on November 29th, and we are open till November 15th is the art call closing. So we're open from now through November 15th. And I will be posting those links as well.
And if by chance you're new and you've never submitted anything to a show before, it's a hugely important experience.
Yes,
and
it is.
and it's really empowering, and I would totally encourage you to like take the leap and let us see your work.
Yes, yes, yes. Be witnessed, and actually witness yourself. And you have your painting, but when you see your painting woven in with all the other students' work, it just gives it such a different feel. And it is also a filter for you to see yourself through, right? I'm learning. I'm learning. it just shifts you so much, and it just like it's just a beautiful thing. And you can invite your friends, your family to view and witness. We'll be giving you information. You can share the links to the show. And then the exhibit page after the show is complete, the virtual show, which we will be sharing through Facebook. But first, you got to submit your work. So I will be sharing all of those links so that you can keep up and choose how you want to join and be part of our community. And most of all, looking forward to you joining us um, during our Star Song ceremony, November 1st at 10 a.m. PT. So look out for that. And with that, we are done. We love you. You know, keep sending your love out into the world. Keep choosing you.
Yes.
And oh, just be present and just, choose love always. Choose love at the center of everything you do, and it will never lead you wrong. Love you all. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue, so much.
Thanks, Millie.
You're welcome.